All right, I've been rereading 1984. It's never been more appropriate than now. Click the links for all the links, the alternative platforms. Join the Discord or to support the channel. This is the project outreach coordinator, so keep that in mind. Oh, and also keep in mind the founder of Duckduckgo, Weinberg, who's from Israeli or from Israel, was also behind a social network called Names Database, which collected the real names and addresses of its users. He then sold that company to another company. So keep that in mind also. So this is his account on Twitter, which is growing so fast that means Twitter's probably going to get rid of it pretty soon. It shows liberal hypocrisy, which people used to do on YouTube. Back before 2016, it was huge. And then Trump derangement syndrome kicked in, and they kind of got together and said, listen, a guy like Trump kind of got elected because he had unfettered reign on big tech. Like, we can't let that happen again. We're going to have to start kicking these channels off. And that's what they've done. Any channels that there used to be like hundreds of channels that laughed at SJWs. Now there's a few remaining, and that's about it. Because anything that laughs at SJWs is like, well, what really are you doing? You're laughing at the ideas, the people who support left-wing ideas. It's like, they can't have that. The worst thing you can do to somebody's ideas is laugh at them, because it makes them realize, like, oh, the idea is so ridiculous that people aren't even taking it seriously. They're just lampooning it. So this guy, account suspended for sharing emails appearing to show discrimination by, yes, it did more than appear if it's accurate. It's like, you never know. But the thing is, like, from what we've seen, the way big tech acts and how a lot of non-white employees behave, it's very problematic. There's been a lot of racist incidents, or I should say anti-white incidents. Anyway, so he got his account locked because he posted this. This thing is going around Gab. It's on 4chan. This guy sent out an application to DuckDuckGo for a tech gig. And as one, he was himself. He had all this experience. He was perfectly typed up. And they said, yeah, it's not what we're looking for. Even though he had like 12 years relevant experience. And the second one, he's a black lesbian, because he was mentioning that he's a woman of color and it's very important to him to be represented, all this kind of stuff. And there's typos in it, and the experience isn't as much. And he made it to the second rounds of the employee thing. Anyway, so DuckDuckGo brands itself as a privacy-focused alternative to Google and has gained massive popularity. Yeah, again, it's like, even when DuckDuckGo came on the scene, people go, yeah, this is Israel. This is Israeli. This is going to be a Mossad. Anything from Israel is going to have connections to spyware. So there's, like, you can't trust anything Israeli. So people are like, you got to find something else. And you go, okay, let's look at these other sites. You look at these other sites, you're like, oh, this is also Israeli sites. So you're going to find something that's not Israeli. It's like, you're going to be looking for a long time. But if anyone knows of anything that's a little bit better than basically giving all your information to Mossad. So on Sunday, he tweeted out screenshots that were posted on 4chan. They're all around Gab too. Gab is, I think, competing with 4chan now. Like, Gab and 4chan, it seems like the only two real ninjas out there who are actually talking about real stuff. And if anything, Gab has got a better layout, a front page, because it's like Twitter. It's like you can post short videos and it just looks roughly like Twitter. Or the 4chan layout is just not as good. Maybe they should update that. Anyway, so he posted those screenshots to show a less qualified black lesbian, and they moved to the second round of interviews. He alleges he was passed over because he was a white man. I was working as a mobile developer for 12 years. Here's the thing. If you're going to apply to school, law school, grad school, anything, black, female, trans, lesbian is going to be the highest you can be. You just have to identify as one. That's it. That's how easy it is. And you can go to a law school that you would not have thought was possible. So something to keep in mind. Because it's not a lie. If you feel you are a black, trans, lesbian, then you are. You identify as one. What you feel is what you are. If a man can feel he's a woman, then he can feel he's Irish, Chinese, Nigerian. It doesn't matter. It's like, that's how you identify. That's how you feel. It's perfectly valid. You're perfectly valid, my super straight friends. Anyway, So who knows about this? This isn't the important part. Though I'm sure it's more likely than not. There's a lot of discrimination against people who are dumb enough to identify as, Brad Smith from Pittsburgh. It's like, no, you probably want to change that name to at least the first name to get a better first name, like, I don't know, something stereotypical. You know what I'm saying? And then you can be a black trans applicant for the job. And the thing is, they need to just fill check boxes. So it's like, they're not going to question you about it. Like, if you identify, it's like, oh, so you're the Afro-Latino transgender lesbian Mrs. Smith, and like you walk in, you're 6'1", shaved head, beard, and you're like, yeah, that's me, Mrs. Smith. Okay, well, we'll just check that box. And then to not hire you, it's like you probably have a lawsuit on their hands. You could probably dye your beard rainbow colors or something. Anyway, so speaking of Gateway Pundit, the owner who lives a TikTok account said that they find it odd that Duckduckgo markets itself as protecting privacy. Again, Weinberg, and he sold the names database. They don't give shit about privacy. These are just honeypots. Protecting privacy and being accessible or appear to be aiding big tech censorship. Within 3 hours of me exposing them, Twitter shut me out for 12 hours. When I saw the thread, I believe it was real, but of course, possibility was a troll, so I posted it with the source 4chan. That way people can come to their own conclusion. Also tagged DuckDuckGo so that they could have the opportunity to clarify and explain the exchange. In addition to forcing them to delete the tweet, Twitter also would not allow them to direct message. See, that's another creepy thing that Twitter and Facebook do. Is like they have access to your DMs. They themselves, some tech guy who's sitting behind a screen, but also the algorithm has access to it. So if you're typing things that they just don't want you to type, it's like, it's not a direct message. You're going to have to use something other than Facebook. I got a Facebook too, and now I'm just going back to old-fashioned phone number messaging, because these intermediaries, it's like they set themselves up as being these great intermediary sites, and then they once they've got a user base, they throw all the censorship up, and they're like, oh, you just kind of sucked us in with this sweet, sweet honey, which they did. Anyway, so like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next episode.